Hi everybody, it's me. And this is, yes, this has been delayed. Mainly because I had so much that I needed to do during the month of November. Whether it was work or school or, yeah, pretty much it was work and school, a lot going on. And plus, this was a very painful subject for me to talk about for a while. So, but now I'm going to do it. So, I want to first talk about why am I doing these two tributes together? Well, because they were a few days apart from each other, and these two impacted me also. So, we're gonna start with Will Ryan. When I heard that Will Ryan passed, I was very hurt. So, most of you might know Will Ryan for his many voice talents. Whether you grew up with Land Before Time, with him as Petrie, or as I keep forgetting that giant's name, Willie, Willie the Giant, who also did Christmas Present from Mickey's Christmas Carol, or perhaps you knew him as the seahorse from The Little Mermaid. Yeah, not a big part necessarily, but despite having so many small roles, he really contributed much. I mean, what could he have done? He could have just said, like, forget it. I've got a huge voice talent and you are ignoring me. No, he actually went ahead and voiced these small roles, and in different ways they were memorable. Even if even if you never noticed the character, you eventually noticed that he was around. And yeah, most of you probably grew up with Petrie, from Land Before Time, the original Petrie. I cannot remember if he did Petrie anywhere throughout the sequels. I don't bother with that. But I grew up with him as Eugene Meltzner in Adventures in Odyssey. And he was a prominent figure in that series. I and quite possibly my favorite character. Actually, no, possibly. He really was my favorite character, not just in the way he talked I but just the way that his character was. I mean, because his character, he's super smart. And to a point where it's sometimes hilarious, but also, um, ultimately, he realized that there's only so far that intelligence can get you, and he turns his life to God eventually. And there's still times where it's funny to see his intelligence challenged by his friends. I like Connie and the fights that they get into. Um, but that was not why I liked Will Ryan. No, that was not why I liked Eugene. I related to him. I was very much. I mean, in some ways we have a lot in common. And as for Will Ryan himself, I can't really say, but I'm pretty sure that my friend Chris could um, confirm. But he really looked and sounded like, I mean, off mic, he looked and sounded like the kind of guy who you would just want to, I say hi and be friendly with, maybe get a cup of coffee with, like a very friendly kind of guy. He really looked like he was that kind of guy, and a good part of me wanted to meet him. I guess not. I, I'm thankful for what he was able to provide and just how very talented he was. I, Adventures in Odyssey is not going to be the same without you, buddy. And I, and then I'm going to talk about another death that really hurt. Art LeFleur. I mean, that name means nothing to me for the most part. Or while there was a time in 2016 where I was taking television class, and Art LeFleur, sat in to help judge, I for a couple days, and I had no idea who he was. I heard he was an actor and so on. He was in a movie called Field of Dreams. Yeah, Field of Dreams. But and that he was also, I forget, is it Santa Claus 2 or Santa Claus 3, where he was um, one of the other figures, other holiday figures. I forget. You could leave in the comments, but I'd never seen any of his movies. And maybe in some ways that was a good thing, because if I recognized him from any of his movies, I probably would have lost focus. I, and I, he gave us tips on how to do good acting. I, I think at one point he was a little too hard on one of the students, a or could have gone easier on one of the other students or one of my classmates. But for the most part, he really gave me helpful tips. On on how to perform better and how to make myself believable and not just be the attitude just for the sake of attitude and so on. I and I For the most part, whenever it came to me performing, I mean he liked 85% of how I performed. He liked how I was comedic, and he still said that I could do better, um, which I was thankful for. And the very last time I saw him, he was leaving class. I was leaving class. He complimented me again how I was doing and kissed my hand and encouraged me, to keep it up, to keep up the good work. And I'm truly grateful for the tips that he was able to give me. And I mean, I still have not seen his movies yet, but I'm grateful for what he was able to pass on. And just leave in the comments below, what movie do you think I should see Art LeFleur in? But yeah, I wanted to make this tribute video, or this personal video for Will Ryan and Art LeFleur, because they impacted me in different ways. Will Ryan impacted my childhood, and he probably impacted yours. I have no idea. I and Art LeFleur I I helped impact my acting a little bit, and I'm taking acting classes again. I Not in LA College anymore, but I'm still learning, and I'm grateful for what he was able to give me at the time. So, I didn't know him as an actor. I knew him, well, I mostly was acquainted with him, and when I told Papa that I met Art LeFleur, he was definitely excited. He was like, "You need to watch Field of Dreams," and okay, I guess I now have an obligation to that. But thank you, Art LeFleur, for your tips. I and thank you, Will Ryan, I, for impacting my childhood and somewhat adulthood. I'll never stop being a child again, and I hope I can listen to Adventures in Odyssey again because it's still not going to be the same without you. Thank you. Hey, what are your thoughts on Lil Ryan and Art LeFluer? Did they impact you?